Hi, folks. Welcome to the GSP Team Podcast. We're just doing a chat today, but a single topic again, World's Strongest Man. Just going to have a quick run through the results and chat about some of the events of the competition and some of the drama around it too, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, Cilléin, you've got the top five
Yeah,
there?
so with the event was the shield carry. First place, Mr. Hooper, followed by Tom Stoltman, Alexei Novikov, Trey Mitchell, and Evan Singleton. And I think the biggest controversy in this event was with Pavlo Cordiaca and the refereeing on that. So if anybody doesn't know, Pavlo was about maybe a half a foot away from hitting the line, except he got the go-ahead from the referee to continue on moving, which he did. And they ended up docking him a full length for it, and that put him down into sixth place overall. He would have won the event if he hadn't lost out on that lap.
No, he would have won the event, but it wouldn't have made much of a difference from the overall standings anyway, right?
No,
he wouldn't have gotten into the podium or anything.
No, definitely not.
But it's still
shouldn't
be happening.
It's a big issue to bring up, considering you had one referee. You had a referee either side, and they were to look at both people to make sure that they cross the line. I mean, if you got two athletes coming at the same time, unless you're going to make your eyes go cross-eyed, you're not going to be able to actually,
especially if they're neck and neck.
Especially if they're neck and neck, it's a bit unprofessional.
You know what they could have done there actually is staggered where the people start. So have one guy start on this end, one guy start up the other end.
That would have worked.
And the chances of them meeting the line at the same time, slim to none. Really, and they give the referee more of a chance.
Yeah.
Or else you just have to have two referees either end, because at that level of a competition, it's just not good enough, really, is it?
And I think as well, for that, it's not technically demanding, so you wouldn't have to be a super duper ref to just make sure you tap the line and turn. You're not looking for a technical thing of lockouts and stuff. Literally tap the line and go, or
go
just
ahead,
put the foot over the line. So
and I don't know, I don't think we can blame the individual referee here.
No,
I think it's more down to the organizers who put that referee in that position to ref two people at once.
At once, 100%.
I think it's way too difficult. I don't think that's right.
I think we spoke about this before. We were just saying, when refereeing is really tough.
It is,
right?
Yeah.
And I do think it's very underestimated by people. You're there. You're trying to do the best that you can for the athlete and make sure that everyone's being treated equally. So to be in that position where you're trying to see two athletes that are coming at you with shields, I wouldn't be blaming the referee.
Definitely not. You're only human at the end of the day. And
we say a blink of an eye.
Literally, that's how close it comes. And I think it was unfair to take away a full length.
Oh, 100%.
That again, I think of that call was
take a meter off.
Take a meter at most. And I would be interested to see if they had spoken in the athlete meeting that what the penalization would have been for not crossing the line. I wonder was that actually specified beforehand? Because
probably
I feel like they're again, when it comes to refereeing and the need of a rule book, this is kind of the reasons why we need to kind of have an overall thing. Because I personally think to dock somebody at full length definitely it's not good enough. A meter at most. Is more because it's when you got a 20-meter track that one. Half a foot isn't going to make up that much of a difference in the overall.
Why 19 meters? Why do they take 19 meters? Oh, because
full length. They just go full.
Full length.
Full length off.
Oh, right. I thought it was a 20-meter course.
I'm pretty sure it was 20 meters. They just took the full length.
Oh, they took the full length. Sorry, I thought it was 19.
No. They took a full lap off them. Which isn't.
Seems harsh.
It's very harsh. I don't think. I think at most we said a meter.
A meter for something like that would be fair, I think.
Yeah. Or somebody went. It was a 3-2-1, and somebody went on the 2. You penalize in 5 seconds or something like that. I feel like those kind of rules really need to be kind of specified beforehand, and then to have that kind of consistency throughout the board for all competitions.
Yeah.
One thing I like about strongman, it can be creative in the sense that different promoters have different things, but I still feel like there needs to be a parameter within which you can have to do it within, if you know what I mean.
I do. I just don't see it ever working because you've got say the Giants Lives, the Ultimate Strongmans, and say Champions League.
Yeah.
And they're never going to agree.
No.
They're just not going to agree. So I don't know how you'd even hope that would happen.
I think what happens what tends to happen if one of the big organisations does it, the rest tend to follow suit a little bit.
Yeah.
So it was no more than belt cleans. They were never allowed, and then someone allowed them. So things like that. Whether a suit will be allowed or not. Again, that's sometimes promoter specific. But I think when one follows suit and then the rest kind of follow in.
Yeah.
So maybe if there was one of the bigger guys was to take standards and go, okay, this is the kind of standard we follow.
No, like this was the biggest competition in the world, and there's
Yeah.
nothing so like.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, maybe they'll look at that and.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
Yeah, you're getting more people calling out for it. That there needs to be some sort of standard set for these things.
Yeah.
Because again, it just can't be happening. Like, especially if it becomes the case of like somebody winning or losing a title.
Absolutely.
Like that's like you don't want to be in that position.
No.
And, like imagine if you won on a default because a referee fucked up the guy who you were neck and neck with.
Yeah.
You would both those athletes would be robbed.
There's an asterisk on your win all the time.
100%. Everyone's like, oh, it's just because the referee gave you a soft call or was too harsh on somebody else. I guess the other kind of controversy was Tom Saltman was in the lead.
Yeah.
He had quite a bit of a distance between him and Mitchell Hooper.
He looks comfortable.
He decided to drop it down, but Mitchell Hooper grinded out, I'd say, about 10 meters.
Yeah.
Made the turn as well, like
instead of walking sideways.
Done the crab walk,
Yeah.
and beat him as well, like that was pure guts and determination right there. Like.
Yeah, he just looked hungrier.
I just don't think Tom didn't expect anybody could beat him, because I've seen a lot of times Tom drop the shield when he could have kept going another 20 meters. He probably wants to. Again, I don't know if it was a complacency or underestimating Mitchell Hooper. I think it was kind of more maybe underestimating him.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, he just wanted it more.
You did. It showed. Next was the deadlift for reps. I believe this was 350 or 340. Top 5, Mitchell Hooper with 8 reps, and then you had 4 athletes tied on 7 reps.
That's insane.
Which is crazy. 7 reps, like
insane,
4 people to be tied on that. Like,
it's obviously a good heavy weight though, because like 8 being the most reps by Hooper, that shows nice and heavy. But probably was more than 350, was it?
I don't think it was.
Given the low reps.
Given lower, maybe, because I know like
relatively
low reps.
Considering.
Yeah. Again, like it's giant size, they're roughly about 350 kg, but it's a 1 day show. Like
and
it's an axle bar like as well. Yeah.
I'm sure. Look, it's up that range anyway. Like
Tom Saltman came 6th overall with only 6 reps. Which and again, Pavel Kordiak 4 reps on that one.
Yeah,
came second last. It's a bit like Mateusz Kiełkowski. Great at absolutely everything except deadlifting.
Yeah,
which is
because I know like everybody was. After he won Europe's, they were all going crazy, going, "Oh, Pablo's going to win. Pablo's going to win Worlds." I was like, "He's no notion.
He's no."
Like, because you can't go to a World's Strongest Man final and have such a big weakness,
huge,
and win. Unless someone else makes a massive mistake.
Which what happened at Europe's with Novikov with the Atlas stones.
Yeah, which is exactly what happened.
Yeah, I'm sure Mateusz only wished that Thor made mistakes like that when the two of them were going head to head.
100%. Yeah, so I just didn't see it. Plus, generally speaking, when someone makes their first World's Strongest Man final, they tend not to perform great in the final because they put so much into getting to the final. Like I know Schoenwinkel got injured this year, all right, in fairness, but like when he got in, I was like, I probably won't do mental. Matt Ragg is another guy. And then like if you look at last year, Hooper blitzed the groups but didn't do great in the final. What a year he's had though.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Third events then, Fingers. Top 5, Tom Saltman, Alexei Novikov, Trey Mitchell, Kordiaka, and Evan Singleton. And interestingly enough, Hooper was 6th overall, didn't even make the top 5 in this, and still managed to win the overall competition.
Did he win like everything else? Or close enough?
I think close.
He won the deadlift and he won the...
Yeah.
So he won the first 2 events at that point.
Yeah. Just double checking now. Yeah, he won everything else.
He won everything else.
Came 6th
in
one. Like,
in his heats as well, didn't he just basically win everything by one?
He won everything by one. Like,
I
think overall there was only 2 events that he didn't win, which was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Good to see the Fingers back into it. So,
it's a fun event.
Pretty cool as well. Like,
no major surprises there except for Mitch maybe.
Yeah, and Brian Shaw didn't finish it off, unfortunately.
Like in fairness, seen like O'Brien coming in this year. The drive for 5 hasn't been on for years, lads. You know,
Yeah,
he's just been a bit over his peak.
yeah,
And,
definitely.
like, he's been an amazing athlete and like fantastic for the
Still
sport.
works hard, train hard, but
And
just,
still phenomenal.
Yeah,
like,
still
he's
phenomenal. Still
competing in
world
World
class.
Strongest Man final, but he's just not. He's over the peak.
Yeah.
He's over the peak, and that's as simple as that.
Yeah,
Really,
it's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, going into the second day then, max dumbbell, another very controversial lift. So top 5 was Mitchell Hooper and Evan Singleton, both on 140, and then Novikov, Kordiaka, and Tom all tied on 132.5, as well as Luke actually tied on 125. I'm sure most people probably seen the videos, but there was a lot of easy lifts given in this.
The standard of refereeing was terrible.
It was painful to see, to be honest.
It was really, really poor. At this level, like, it just shouldn't be happening.
No.
And it's not even like they put the ref in a bad position. The refs were just
right in front of them, yeah.
And I think,
and I'm sorry to the refs.
yeah, well, we said, like I said this earlier, it just seems to be a bit consistent now with dumbbell at the moment across all of the big competitions. There's some really shit calls happening.
Really shit calls. Like OSG as well, like the refs there for the dumbbell, some of them were just terrible last year. Like, I don't understand how you can give some of them calls that we've seen. Like,
I don't think so.
I mean, some dumbbells were nearly out to the side on people. Like, you know, fair enough, your arm is locked, but you have no control of it whatsoever.
That's going straight back down again.
I control out to the side and lock my arm as well, but
and I as somebody who does referee, and like the one thing I always look for is control of the weight. Like, you don't want to see that like the person is struggling or they're trying to like fool you by trying to go into position to make it look like they're in control. Like, you want to see clear and concise, even for like dumbbell, just to be holding up straight for a solid moment. Because I know if you probably find on YouTube with Mateusz Kielowski's 150 kg monster dumbbell. It was a fucking big dumbbell and gets it up straight up and he holds it. He holds it like clear and steady. And he gets the down command like, and that. So it's not a case that it's a dumbbell, so it's a little bit more awkward. Like, no,
so you should be getting a softer call on it.
I feel like that's part of me thinks that's what's going into, that people are like, don't pressing dumbbells is a little bit difficult, so it's okay to kind of give those. Like, no, it's not, because it's been clearly done in the past where people, and like even Novikov's brilliant. Yeah, he gets under it quite well and everything. So it's like, fair enough. You might want to see people do big weights, but you want to see them lift them properly.
But it should be like a realistic lift. That's not the word I'm looking for, but it needs to be a
good quality lift.
A good quality lift. And I think, we always want to be like in favor of the athlete to an extent, but there has to be convincing. That's the word I'm looking for. It has to be convincing that you, like you said, you have control of that weight and it's locked up and you're holding it there for that moment.
Like, I wonder, like, do the refs just feel the pressure of the situation and the athletes that they're reffing and then just panic or whatever?
There was storms. There was like,
I'm trying to come up for excuses for them, but there are none really, like, in the grand scheme of things.
Like, especially like if it's going to be like a televised, maybe that's what it's going to be, a televised event, and maybe it could be a bit bad if a load of people are failing these, like, this event or something like. But if that's the case, maybe change the weights around, or change the event around. Like,
do it for reps. So
don't be giving crappy calls, like, especially if you want the sport to grow and evolve, like, and to seeing stuff like this, it's just like. When you look back, let's say like the old World Strongest Man finals, you never really seen any soft calls, not as kind of frequent as they're kind of more coming up now.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Yeah, I think at most you might see someone's like their feet might not be in line, or they might, but like it's not as bad as clear as this like, one is.
Mitch's was terrible. Like.
So bad. He was at an angle.
It was at an angle. There was no way he was holding that.
No.
I didn't see Evan Singleton's. What was that like? It was
more or less exactly the same. They, like the two of them, they were out like this. They kind of came down like that, but I didn't kind of follow through. Hold it. Like they were just, and it was like they just got the down command. Like the dumbbell hadn't stopped moving, and that's like I feel like for an overhead event, your body has to stop moving and the weight has to stop moving. You can be shaking. You can be shaking as much as you want, but as long as you're staying in one spot, that's perfectly fine. But it was a bit.
Kind of a shit show, really. Like.
It was rough to watch.
To be quite honest,
again, another controversial event, the vehicle pull, with only 3 about 3.5 seconds divided in 8th and first place.
And what's the, so like 32, there's 4, 5, 6, like there's 6 guys
32
in
seconds.
32 point something
Yeah,
seconds.
2 people, Tom and Evan, both on 32.27 seconds.
Like, to me, again, this is a tough one, right? Because the promoters obviously wanted a truck pull. They get given this space and this truck or bus pulls up, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, right, we got to deal with this. But I think something at the level of World's Strongest Man, if you can't test the truck on the ground, the truck you're going to be using on the ground that you're going to be doing it on, you shouldn't have a truck pull.
Yeah.
Because that was clearly way too easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Way too easy. And I've seen some videos where lads were even throwing the ropes away and just running with it. Like, that's not how it should be at that level. There should be much bigger gaps. Like, so, like, okay, Mitch won that by 2 seconds again. So he was obviously just very good at that. But like, who came like 33 seconds, Alexei Novikov, right? And just a second ahead is Tom Stoltman in second place. Like, who's to say if that was a proper heavier truck that Alexei wouldn't? Okay, Tom's very good. But let's take who's below Evan Singleton or Pavlo. Like, who's to say that doesn't completely invert? If there's a good way to truck and there's gaps between everybody. Like, because to me, like, and this is the argument here then for timing gates, but we'll get into that in a second. This is like how quick somebody might click a stopwatch.
Exactly.
You know, and like, so that's where the problem is there, and that's why you need bigger gaps between people. So a bigger truck. So to me, they shouldn't have a vehicle pull in a World's Strongest Man final if they can't actually test that vehicle on that ground, or at least a very similar vehicle on that ground beforehand. And they probably just aren't. They probably weren't able to because of, again, like, they show up and like the city gives them this area. That's what happens, right? This is where you do your truck pull, lads. And it's scenic and all that stuff, generally speaking, right? And then they get a sponsored truck with a truck, so they just kind of figure it out on the day. And I know they let air out of the tires to make it slower and stuff, but again, it was obviously way too light. They're still doing that as well. They know it's way too light.
I find it difficult as well because I remember my first image of Strongman. The first thing I ever seen was 2008 when they had the fucking plane pull.
Yeah, very cool.
And it was like as a kid, like, it's something that's cemented in my mind was to see a human pull. And I think I remember seeing like Travis Ortmeyer doing it.
Yeah.
And then
Pujanowski.
And a lot of people didn't even finish it. And then Terry Hollins came in and he beat the top scorer. I think it was like by 3 seconds or something. And it was clear as day that he was like, Terry Hollins was the best puller. He pulled that plane way quicker than everybody else. But then
with this, you don't know.
To see a bus and then to see guys to be fucked. I think Terry's time was like 40. I think it was like 46 seconds or something, or 48 seconds, and everyone was going over the 50-second mark. And it's like you don't want to see everybody finishing it.
No,
and you don't want to see everybody finishing so close to each
other. So close to each other is the biggest issue.
Yeah, and it's just like, you know, again, it's strongman. Like, you know, it's not the fittest man.
Yeah. Like, there's been a lot of arguments about this online. I've seen people mention timing gates, and I know we mentioned the gym here. I have timing gates, so like, if timing gates worked, I'd be using them in our competitions. But they wouldn't work because what would happen here is the rope would be setting it off. So if you set your timing gates up where the finish line, you'd have one down where the bus crosses it, and you'd have one up where either the bus finish or the person crosses it. But if the rope whips up through the laser, it's going to set it off. So that's not going to work right there. The only way that would actually work is if you had like a truck pull without the rope in front of you, maybe, and the person crossing the line set it off. So to me, that argument is null and void. But you had a good point about pressure pads.
So like, the
athletes usually throw themselves at the line.
Exactly.
And just so if there was a pressure pad there to
it would literally just tap, and you'd know that there was a turn.
So that's something that might actually work there for more accuracy. But yeah, the timing gate thing doesn't really work. And like, I know people have spoke about it for farmers walks as well. And like,
it's too awkward.
Well, you see, what could happen there is you might come across it, right? And your implement might touch the laser and stop the time. The other person might have a tilted farmers coming down the way, and it might miss their farmers and not go off until the person crosses. So that's not fair. Like, how? I don't know if there's a way around that. Like,
you think there has to be some form of technology out there?
You would think so.
You would think at this stage that there has to be some sort of technology, particularly for the timing. I think. That can do, I don't know, a screen capture. It takes a picture, sends a time. Do you know what I mean? There must be something.
You'd have to have something that come from above to look down, so it's not getting in the way. From the sides, you see what I mean? Like, so it's like when something actually crosses that line, then it can go off. Because from side view, there's too many different things that could go wrong with it.
Yeah, it's that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like it's like whatever passes through that will knock it off. So
I think there'll come a time that rule. That's where it's going to have to go. I think
I'd love it
Because
if timing gates
to
worked,
some
or
of-
if there
to-
was,
yeah.
it'd be great.
for some of the events.
Yeah.
Really, just like makes everything as accurate as humanly possible, but it's not really going to work with a lot of events.
No.
Might work on one event of a day, but is that any good to us? Like,
what's the point? Like,
what's the point? Yeah.
Not very practical.
No, it's not practical. The setup of it and everything, like,
Yeah.
And the next event?
Last one, was Stones. They don't have the listing up for it, like, but
I'm pretty sure Hooper won that as well.
I'm pretty sure he won it as well.
Or no, the Tom won Stones, actually. Doesn't matter. Anyway,
Doesn't matter,
it
no.
finished up with Hooper winning by a fair margin.
Tom won Stones. Yeah.
Tom won
Stones. Yeah.
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 So what was the final point?
The
tally?
difference between them. So Hooper 53.5, Tom Saltman 49, and Novikov 41.
Massive gaps there.
Yeah, and
Huge.
then both.
Hadn't Hooper won it before the final
I think there was.
already? Or
I
was
think we were talking about this. He
I
had
think
it won,
he had it won. Yeah,
He had it won, did he?
Yeah,
Insane.
yeah, crazy, like
Insane. Like that's a massive gap from first to second and then
Mm.
second to third. Like it's just
huge. Yeah,
Huge.
massive.
he really just dominated the shit out of it this
Ran
year.
away with it, like yeah,
Like in such a short career as well.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So no,
Because it's
like-
only his first real year, isn't
It's been less than 12 months.
Yeah.
He's been doing it,
In
like on
high
on
profile
whole level.
contact-
Yeah,
contest.
he has started strong like 3 years ago, but it's only been a year that he's been on the pro circuit, like, and this is
Yeah,
already
his first
Yeah.
big strongman comp was World's Strongest Man,
yeah,
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
How sick
And
is
he's won
that?
Giants Live. He's won the Arnold Classic. He's won Worlds. He just needs to win the Rogue, and that's
Everything.
That's the full collection, yeah.
If he wins the Rogue this year, that's the
everything-
trilogy
everything,
essentially.
yeah, everything
Yeah.
ticked off then. Like,
Wow.
And is that in? Is there talk? Is that what's in his?
oh yes, that's
Yeah.
the next plan. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
he's got the Giants Live Classic, Strongman Classic coming up first, and then the Rogue Invitational is in October this year. Pretty sure
Cool.
it's October. Yeah.
And no doubt he wants to win them all.
Man
course.
on a mission.
Yeah, of course, phenomenal to see even just like his background and everything. Like, and I kind of hope this is a wake up call for Tom, because I feel like him and Luke really just the complacency got the better of them after Worlds last year, and taking 6 months off is just I just think it's unprofessional when you're at that high level. Like, fair enough, if you have other commitments, but like, don't be kind of walk around saying you're going to win World's Strongest Man again after taking that big of a gap.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just, and again, I think I'm just still a bit bitter over how they showed up for the Arnold Classic, because it's just like, as somebody who's like, trying to like rise up in the sport, to see people just show up to such a big competition, not ready and not even being like bothered to get ready for it.
Attempt
I was
almost,
just like why the fuck are you showing up to the show? Like, it's just like, step aside, let somebody else who's actually wants to go. Like, and both of them knew going in that they weren't going to win it. Like, so I was like, why go into a competition if you don't want to?
And they weren't ready even to do
They weren't.
it.
No, far from it. Like, far from it.
Yeah, you do raise a good point in like let someone else have their shot.
Yeah, of course, because they gave themselves 5 weeks, 5-6 weeks to get ready for the show after a 10-month gap.
The only thing I
And
think
it's just-
regarding that though is that they're contractually, isn't there some obligation with Ireland's?
I don't think so.
I thought there was talk about this before that
But
they're
like, lads fake injuries all the time.
Yeah,
yeah they do.
I know they
Oh,
were.
we know a good
Yeah,
few
they
of them.
were on a retainer with Giants Live, but other than that, though, there
Yeah.
was nothing there. Like,
Oh yes, that's right. They
because
were
the Arnold Classic is purely invite only, other than the Arnold amateur winner. So yeah, it's just like, you want to see the best of the best, and you want to see a competitive competition. Like, and it's just a bit frustrating when you see two people going in there and they're not even taking it that seriously.
Yeah.
So hopefully, this is a bit of a wake up call for both of them, and just like,
Whatever about Luke, Tom
Tom in
definitely. Like,
particular,
'cause I felt like he would have done a 3 in a row there. Like,
yeah,
it was on the cards for him.
He
Like,
could have, yeah.
but
Yeah,
sure.
just underestimated Mitchell Hooper. Because I even know, like, before the World's Strongest Man, the Stoltman's done up a video, and when they were talking about the groups, Tom didn't even mention Mitchell Hooper. He didn't even like. I think
Not on the radar.
He picked 2 other people to go through into the finals, but didn't even talk about Mitchell as being a possibility. And I think maybe he was just intentionally just trying to like
Get in his head or
get
something,
in his
maybe.
head, or maybe it was just like maybe a defense mechanism on his own part, but
Or maybe he just totally disregarded.
disregards him. Like,
Where he's
yeah,
gonna be coming
where he's
from.
gonna- yeah, totally. Like, so. Yeah, hopefully now this brings out more in Tom, because there's definitely a lot more in there. Because like last year he did win by like a 10-point lead, and I can, you know,
Yeah, he was dominant.
he's dominant. He's very,
He's
very
completely
dominant.
dominant.
Like, yeah, but
For the last 2 years, he was
Last 2, yeah.
looking really, really good, and then this year it's just been
yeah,
kind of. And then I suppose after that, just a mention for Pal Dwyer,
yeah.
he was in group 1 or
He
2.
was in the first group.
The first group, which was a really, really
Yeah,
hard
the
group.
worst group.
In Limerick 2 weekends ago when we were down there for the pro. I was just chatting to him. I was like, "How are you getting over Wales and everything?" And he said, "We were just chatting." And he was just saying, "Yeah." He said, when he was getting through the night before, when they'd announced the groups, it was like people going messaging him, going, "Jesus, man, you're fucked." Like, that's the group of death. Jesus, you know. He goes, that's everyone was kind of saying, "Oh, Jesus, God love him. He is in the group of death."
But
like,
you shouldn't text.
But you don't text a man that. So lads, please don't be texting people that unless you're a complete asshole and you are trying to get in someone's head. And please don't do it. It's not nice. But yeah, it was text him and tell him that he was fucked. Like
He did decent, like as well as you could in them circumstances. In fairness, like you have the group there, do you?
Yeah.
Pablo, Tom, Bobby, Pal Dwyer. I mean, come on.
Such a rough group to be in.
Like I did think that was the hardest group.
Yeah, definitely. It's very good on the Conan's wheel. It's a good
Second
event
in
for
Conan's wheel,
good event for him. Like,
oh, absolutely.
yeah. One thing interesting to note that if the heats were done as one competition, the top 10 would have been exactly the same, except Bobby Thompson would have been in and Luke Stoltman would have been out. But other than that, though, the top 10 would still remains as the top 10. Which I don't like. A part of me does question: is the groups a good way of going about it, or
You
would
have a 30-man competition?
So I think a 30-man competition is a better option than groups. To be honest, because I understand that you're always going to have the strongest man going to win.
Yeah,
but I feel like in between that, then that can make a big difference for a lot of athletes, even for just mindset wise.
You see, what this creates is a better TV show.
It does, yeah,
and that's what it's about.
Yeah. TV show,
having them groups makes a better TV show because you have one episode for each group, and then you have an episode for the final. So like and I agree. I think like maybe a 20-man competition, with like 10 events, and then you'll really find the most rounded best athlete.
Yeah,
but it doesn't make for as good of a TV show.
No,
which is the problem. Like so, or like maybe there's a way of making it like a good TV show. I don't know, an episode per event or something, but. One event per episode gets boring too. Like
just saying the same thing over and over
for an hour, So I don't know. The answers for that I don't have.
Yeah,
to be quite honest.
No, it's a tough one.
It is a tough one. Yeah, absolutely. Can't please us all, I suppose.
No, definitely not.
So I think that's it for today. Is it?
Yeah,
I think so.
Right, that's it for today, lads. If you like the content, share the content. Ring the subscribe bell. Yeah, if you want us to talk about any topics, let us know.
Share the content.
Yeah. That's it. So.
Yep.
All right, folks. Bye.
Thank you.